Hello and welcome. Tonight, Nigeria's unity is non-negotiable, says President Muhammadu Buhari, who joined other dignitaries to pay tribute to APC national leader at the colloquium to celebrate his 69th birthday. National Assembly and Presidency consider review of supplementary budget to address national security and COVID-19. And Governor Kayode Fayemi says proceeds of banditry used to fund insurgency. Edo State Governorship Election Tribunal dismisses 4 petitions against Governor Godwin Obaseki, the PDP, and the Independent National Electoral Commission over allegations he submitted forged documents to aid his election. And traffic resumes in Egypt's Suez Canal after stranded giant container ship is finally removed. Plus, we'll have business, sports, news from Abuja, and later on international news from our London studios.
On business news tonight, President Muhammadu Buhari puts revenue generated by Nigeria Liquefied Natural Gas Company for the country at $114 billion.
And on sports news tonight, Lagos State government to restrict all vehicular movement around the Teslim Balogun Stadium from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. tomorrow for the AFCON qualifier between Nigeria and Lesotho.
And from Abuja, President of the Court of Appeal inaugurates Mediation Center to provide alternative dispute resolution, speedy trials, and dispute resolution.
A collective call for unity. That's what President Muhammadu Buhari and the national leader of the All Progressives Congress, Chief Bola Tinubu, are demanding from Nigerians as they restate the need to keep the country as one. The president says Nigerians must count their blessings following the 1967-1970 war and forget about secession. The comments were made at the 12th Bola Tinubu colloquium to commemorate the birthday of the former Lagos State governor.
The idea behind a colloquium is to address concerns through discussions with the objective of coming up with forward-thinking policies. And for some time, the annual seminar organized in commemoration of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu's birthday has proven to be one where national issues have been debated. This time, the event is being held in Kano State, and participants are here in large numbers. However, not all keynote speakers are present. Even President Muhammadu Buhari's goodwill message was delivered virtually. Extolling the virtues of the national leader of the All Progressives Congress, President Buhari reiterated his stance on the unity of Nigeria.
Notwithstanding our diversity of ethnicity, culture, language, and religion, Nigerians are better together, even stronger together. We must count our blessings in Nigeria and see in them the crucial factors of peace and unity.
And the man at the center of the celebration carries on, touching on various national issues, from the economy, where he proffered suggestions to National Assembly members present.
This is the time to put stimulus expenditure in place. This is no more time for austerity. I hope you listen carefully. This is not the time to constrain the economy. This is the time to create the opportunity.
To security, in which he stressed the need to tackle the menace of insurgents with more boots on the ground.
We are under police, and we are competing with armed robbers and bandits to recruit from the youths who are unemployed. 33% unemployed. Recruit 50 million youths into the army and the take away from their recruitment source.
He ends his speech with a call for unity.
We can promote unity and common destiny and common patrimony in a better, more creative way.
If at any time in the history of colloquiums held at the instance of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, this perhaps could be regarded as being a very important one, considering the precarious situation the nation's security is at the moment. Hopefully, the words spoken here will go a step further to be matched with actions.
Meanwhile, the chairman of the Nigerian Governors Forum, Kayode Fayemi, believes that Nigeria cannot rely on military action alone if the country wants to end insurgency. This is just as the Senate President, Ahmed Lawan, also announced that the National Assembly and Presidency are considering a review of the supplementary budget to address national security and the COVID-19 pandemic. Senator Lawan and Governor Fayemi made comments after meeting separately with the presidents today in Abuja. Our State House correspondent Gloria Umezoke reports.
The Senate leader and Speaker of the House of Representatives meet with President Muhammadu Buhari in his office behind closed doors. According to the leadership of the National Assembly, extra budgetary provisions to fight insecurity and procure COVID-19 vaccines was central at the meeting.
We believe that we haven't had enough. We still need to approve more resources for the purchase of weapons for our armed forces, because this is the number one priority of government, or any government really, to secure the security of the people and of course later the welfare. So we believe that we will be doing the right thing if there is a request through supplementary appropriation bill from the presidency or the executive arm of government, and then we approve. Of course, depending, we have to have clear-cut definition of how much is going for what.
Procuring vaccines, according to the Senate leader, is equally fundamental to Nigeria.
I believe that this country, our country, Nigeria, should have some resources for our scientists to collaborate with international, with other scientists from across the globe to also have our own vaccine, because we can't rely on what other countries are doing. Now, every nation to itself. That's what is happening.
Fielding questions, Speaker of the House of Representatives hinted that the passage of the Petroleum Industry Bill might suffer slight setback owing to the Easter break.
At the time the commitment was made, we didn't take into cognizance the fact of Easter break, and Ramadan is coming up as well. We're still shooting for going for end of April. But we're not going to straitjacket ourselves into that a particular date. But when I say end of April, we're talking about thereabouts. Might be a week after, maybe 2 weeks after at most.
Separately, Chairman of the Nigerian Governors Forum and Governor of Ekiti State met with the president. He tells the media that the president is accelerating moves towards procuring additional military equipment as he draws correlation between activities in the northwest and northeast.
I also don't think we are naive enough to think that it's simply a military action that will resolve all these security challenges. They have root causes. And the root causes require political will. And there is a direct correlation, I've said this to you before, between insurgency in the northeast and what we're seeing manifesting itself as banditry in the northwest or kidnapping in the southwest. Some of the people involved in these are also the ones responsible for insurgency. And they are using the resources that they make from kidnapping for the activities that they're conducting in the northeast.
The leaders are hoping that the stringent push towards tackling binary issues of the pandemic and insecurity in the country would significantly address the challenges. From the presidential villa, Gloria Umezuke, Channels Television News.
Police authorities are not giving up on investigating the recent attack on Governor Samuel Ortom of Benue State as the police special investigation team arrives at the state capital, Makurdi, today. The team met with Governor Otom at the State House, where they discussed the murder attempt, which has since generated national condemnation. Although the Commissioner of Police, Mr. Audu Madaki, says his task was to hand over the case file to the team, the leader of the police team says he has no authorization to speak on the investigation. Meanwhile, a group of TIV professionals have asked the police team to begin by inviting one Umar Shehu, who reportedly issued a statement. The Minister of State for Petroleum Resources and the Secretary General of the Organization of Exporting Countries have been highlighting the significance of the Decade of Gas Development Initiative after the launch of the Decade of Gas in Nigeria by the President today. While the OPEC Secretary General, Mr. Mohammed Barkindo, says he sees a promising future for Nigeria's gas potential, we'll have more as our energy correspondent, Olu Phillips, reports.
Energy transition and the future of fossil fuel is at the fulcrum of this conference that has brought together in one room everyone and anyone relevant in the Nigerian oil and gas industry. To underscore the importance of the gathering ahead of June this year, when a holistic approach will be institutionalized, the President of Nigeria is doing the honors of chairing this occasion with the theme, The Decade of Gas.
Our major objective for gas sector is transform Nigeria into an industrialized nation with gas playing a major role. Remarkable progress has been made to achieve this objective. This includes developing gas infrastructure, promoting domestic utilization of LPG and CNG, commencing the process of commercializing gas flares, development of industrial and transport gas markets, and increasing gas to power.
It's about economics of gas and its potential to leapfrog Nigeria's growth through industrialization, a position the Group Managing Director NNPC is at home with.
Nigeria, under the leadership of President Muhammadu Buhari, has committed huge resources to ensure that domestic gas infrastructure reach every corner of our country, to deepen natural gas utilization, support investment in power and gas-based industries, grow the economy, and generate employment for millions of our young people.
If you take the NLNG example, with Train 7 coming on stream, an estimated 40,000 jobs is in the offing.
Saudi Arabia and Dubai use oil to move their economies to becoming one of the best in the world. Qatar has used only gas to transform from a fishing economy to becoming a global gas giant. Nigeria, on the other hand, has both oil and gas. However, Nigeria has thus far ridden on the back of oil for over 50 years. But now the time has come for Nigeria to fly on the wings of gas.
The Decade of Gas will require measurable milestones to be set from the blast of the whistle if Nigeria must catch up in the race to transition into green energy revolution. Bearing this in mind, the Minister of State for Petroleum has made some commitments.
The economic recovery and growth plan of this administration revolves around the utilization of natural gas. The 4 priority areas enunciated in the ERGP are energy sufficiency, transportation, agriculture, manufacturing, and industrialization. The common denominator is natural gas, as it is the major fuel for power generation, transportation, and key ingredient for manufacturing fertilizer, which is required for agriculture.
With the 203 TCF of proven gas reserves, Nigeria has a major leeway, and that has been strongly canvassed at this meeting. The future is now. Olu Phillips, Channels Television News.
President Muhammadu Buhari will depart the nation's capital, Abuja, for London in the United Kingdom tomorrow for a routine medical checkup. A statement from the presidency says the president will meet with security chiefs first in the morning before embarking on the journey. The president has embarked on a number of trips to the UK to seek medical care since he assumed office. In 2017, he spent over 150 days in the UK treating an undisclosed ailment and also spent 4 days in May 2018 to see his doctor. The president is expected back in the country in the second week of April. In part two, after the break, Nigerian Drug Law Enforcement Agency, that's the NDLEA, intercepts illicit drugs worth over 2 billion naira in Lagos, arrests 3 suspects. That's in a moment. Please join us again. Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 on Channels Television, coming to you live from Lagos. A reminder of our top stories. Nigeria's unity is non-negotiable, says President Muhammadu Buhari, who joined other dignitaries to pay tribute to APC national leader at the colloquium to celebrate his 69th birthday. National Assembly and Presidency consider review of supplementary budget to address national security and COVID-19, as Governor Kayode Fayemi says proceeds of banditry used to fund insurgency. Edo State Governorship Election Tribunal dismisses 4 petitions against Governor Godwin Obaseki, the PDP, and the Independent National Electoral Commission over allegations he submitted forged documents to aid his election. And traffic resumes in Egypt's Suez Canal after stranded giant container ship is finally removed. The National Drug Law Enforcement Agency has intercepted illicit drugs worth over 2 billion naira at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport, Lagos, and arrested 3 suspected traffickers. One of the suspects, Chimeze Bright, was arrested on Sunday during the outward clearance of passengers on Air Maroc with 7.1 kilograms of methamphetamine carefully concealed in food spices and packed in a Swiss polo suitcase.
Unarguably, the border closure occasioned by the COVID pandemic is responsible for the surge in the I think the move to make sure they move a lot of illicit drugs from Nigeria being a transit country to other parts of the world. In a related development too, the command also intercepted one Bamidele Babatunde Adeyemo at Sako export shed with 800 grams of cannabis sativa and an abundant seizure of about 38.200 kilograms of green leaves called cat. The cannabis was cleverly concealed inside foodstuff and bound for Dubai in the United Arab Emirates. In a follow-up operation, one Asonye Christian was arrested in connection to the seizure of the 800 grams of cannabis. Investigations are ongoing with a view to establishing more leads and getting the owner of the card lips.
Let's cross over to Abuja now, and here's Terry Ikumi. Terry.
Hello, Ejoma, and welcome to the nation's capital. We begin with legal matters. President of the Court of Appeal, Justice Monica Dongban-Mensem, is challenging the judiciary to rise up and meet the challenges of adjudication in the 21st century. Justice Dongban-Mensem says good performance on the part of the country's judiciary will improve employment and economic growth of the country. She was speaking at the inaugural sitting of the Court of Appeal Mediation Center.
Decongesting the docket of the courts is the focus of the Court of Appeal Mediation Center, as the president of the court renews her determination to ensure amicable resolution of disputes. Addressing lawyers and litigants, the president of the court explains that the alternative dispute resolution represents an innovation which, if fully utilized, will introduce a multi-track justice delivery system to the appellate level and further boost justice delivery.
We must not only build a structure, but a mindset that will drive the process of alternative, less expensive, expeditious, and less onerous dispute resolution process, such as the mediation process. There is also a need for us to build a culture where peaceful resolution of disputes become an attractive becomes more attractive and indeed a better choice than litigation. I appeal to the bench and bar to uphold the ideals of the Center for quick, amicable resolution of disputes.
The chief mediator appeals to litigants and lawyers to avoid unnecessary litigation.
I will mention that you have not been charged. It is pro bono. We're not charging any fees. We are gladly letting you do it free because we want to encourage so that people will come.
Some lawyers expressed their opinion on the mediation center.
I must say that it is a welcome development. Alternative dispute resolution is the in thing all over the world.
It is a very laudable development. It is a development that is in sync with international based practice, as you can hear as you heard what the PCA said herself. So it is a step in the right direction because it goes to promote trade and commerce.
The overriding objective of the Court of Appeal Mediation Center is to promote mediation and other alternative dispute resolution mechanisms towards enhancing the administration of justice and speedy resolution of disputes. The issue, however, remains the willingness of litigants and lawyers to take advantage of the center.
Staying with legal matters, the Edo State Governorship Election Petition Tribunal, sitting in Benin City, has dismissed the petition filed by Tracy Ebunago against the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, the People's Democratic Party, PDP, and Godwin Obaseki, as it failed in its entirety and lacked merit. The petition tribunal dismissed all 4 petitions before it, 3 of which were predicated on the ground of qualification of Mr. Godwin Obaseki to contest the election, for not qualifying at the time of the election on the allegation that he submitted forged or false documents to INEC to aid his qualification. The 4 petitions were filed separately by the Action Democratic Party and its candidate, Emmanuel Iboy, the Action People's Party, the Allied People's Movement, and Tracy Ebunago.
For us, we're in high spirits because we do believe that the wheel of justice grinds slowly but surely. We are going to discuss with our clients, and definitely this will not be the end of the matter. And we believe justice will be done in this matter, because as soon as we have the requisite conference with our clients, we shall do the needful concerning this matter.
On the issue of forgery, which is the plank of almost all the petition, they have said the allegation has not been proved. There is a Federal High Court judgment that says Obaseki did not forge his certificate. The university has said so. The Court of Appeal has said so. And this should put to rest, because it's a recycle. Every 4 years, when it's running election, they come about forgery. It was the same thing with the deputy governor. A competent court also said the certificate was not forged, and that was tendered here. And the court said that judgment is subsisting and has not been challenged. It cannot be revisited. So the petition on that was an abuse of court process. But you know, these are politicians. After election, nothing was heard against the election. On whether the election was free and fair, whether it was duly conducted, whether there were corrupt practices, nothing. Then you try to go behind and begin to bring things, pre-election matters. Another one was that, the governor was nominated by APC. The question we ask, if it is true that the governor was nominated by APC, who is the candidate of APC in the election? So, and this is what the court has resolved.
This court has reaffirmed justice. It has reaffirmed the verdict of Edo people. And no man can change that verdict. And this judgment also has reaffirmed that Godfatherism is history in Edo now. And that this judgment also has reaffirmed that democracy is all about the people, people's first and always. And for us, we'll just do the will of the people, because that is what democracy is all about.
When the news at 10 returns, President Muhammadu Buhari puts revenue so far generated by the Nigeria Liquefied Natural Gas Company at $114 billion. That's on Business News. Stay with us.
Welcome back to the news at 10. The impact of the COVID-19 pandemic has been taking a toll on businesses, and exports are not left out. To cushion the effect of the pandemic, the federal government flagged off a 5 billion naira export expansion facility program, an initiative which is expected to boost exports, create jobs, and shore up revenue. The Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Mr. Adeniyi Adebayo, and the Executive Director of the Nigeria Export Promotion Council, Mr. Segun Awolowo, are confident that the grant will achieve the desired results.
We have witnessed time and again the devastating impact that events outside our control can have on our livelihood due to our resilience on the primary source of foreign exchange. I am immensely glad to be here for the flag off of the Export Expansion Facility Program. This program, which is a historic 50 billion naira federal government intervention to support export businesses, cushion the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic, safeguard jobs and de-risk the economy from shocks like COVID, is available for our non-oil export sector. The primary goal of the Export Expansion Facility is to increase Nigeria's export capacity in the near term and its export volumes in the medium term.
Nigeria may have exited recession with 0.11%, but the economy is not unscathed, and this is evident in the unemployment level. Figures from the National Bureau of Statistics indicate that for the fourth quarter of 2020, an additional 1.42 million people were unemployed. What immediate steps can be taken? Our correspondent Inijon Mekwa reports.
The committee further noted
the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria announcing the decision of the Monetary Policy Committee after its second meeting for the year 2021. The committee, which voted 3 against 6, has decided to hold economic parameters
and the depreciation of our currency.
The consideration to reach this decision include the headline inflation, which rose for the 18th consecutive month in February 2021 to 17.33% compared to 16.47% recorded in January, the highest in 4 years. Another factor was the unemployment rate, which rose to 33.3% in the fourth quarter of 2020 compared to 27.1% in the second quarter of the same year. Meanwhile, the unemployment rate among young people, that is people within 15 to 34 years, was at 42.5%, up from 34.9% for the fourth quarter of 2020. These figures come alive on the streets of many states, including Lagos, even though it has the lowest underemployment rate at 4.5%.
If you look at the type of employment we have here in Nigeria, people are just struggling to ensure that they have something to be able to feed their families.
Satisfaction in what you are doing, like you are enjoying what you're doing while you are making profits, is a total different thing.
However, it's not a hopeless situation with a look at the agriculture sector, which grew by 3.42% in the fourth quarter of 2020.
And this is why we've been talking to the federal government and the state government that don't just lead the farmers, because we are the ones that feed the citizens, we like it or not. We used to depend on oil. Look at what is happening to all the foreign currency like dollars now.
Another sector of interest is the information communication technology, which grew by 17.64%. A sector which experts believe can employ youth with little or no capital.
If you have a fully formed idea that you truly believe in and you have passion for, my advice is that you start serving people within your community. So I could say, oh, would you pay this amount of money for this service? And once I got the right pricing, I could then say, okay, great, let me start offering to more people. And from there, that's how we started growing. And once you get to, because the idea is this, once you get to a place where you have a proof of concept, you have people that can pay for the service, you can then approach investors.
Analysts believe that a more robust government policy in agriculture and the ICT, which has become more pronounced because of COVID-19 outbreak, would drastically reduce the unemployment figure and even make a difference in the insecurity challenge in the country. Ini John Mekwa, Channels Television News.
For more business news now, here's Anne Waudu.
Banking, so easy, so simple. Dial *894# now to experience it. You first, First Bank.
Thank you, Joma. Hello and welcome to Business News. President Muhammadu Buhari says Nigeria Liquefied Petroleum Natural Gas Company has generated $114 billion in revenue for the country in many years, with 100% Nigerian management and 95% workforce. He made this known today at the Nigeria International Petroleum Summit 2021 pre-summit conference and official inauguration of the Decade of Gas Conference in Abuja.
Nigeria LNG contributes about 1% to GDP and has contributed $114 billion United States dollars in revenues over the years. $9 billion United States dollars in taxes, $18 billion United States dollars in dividends to the federal government, 15 billion United States dollars in feed gas purchases, and all these were achieved with 100% Nigerian management and 95% Nigerian workforce.
President Muhammadu Buhari. Meanwhile, at the international oil market, prices were trading higher today following reports that Russia would support stable crude output from OPEC Plus ahead of their meeting later this week. The price of #1 oil price benchmark, Brent crude, rose 0.77% to settle at $65.08 a barrel at 9:55 p.m. local time today, while its contemporary U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude went up by 1.07% to settle at $61.61 a barrel. Both futures had fallen in earlier sessions as reports that a container ship in Suez Canal blocking traffic for nearly a week had been refloated. From oil to currencies, the Naira gained 0.21% in its value against the US dollar today at investors' and exporters' window of the forex market. The local currency closed higher at 409 Naira 13 kobo compared to 410 Naira that it closed with on Friday. And this is coming as Nigeria's external reserve continues its rebound after gaining 0.09% to close at $34.65 billion on March the 25th. Meanwhile, the Naira stayed flat at 485 against the dollar at the parallel forex market. The Securities and Exchange Commission has set 50 million Naira as the minimum paid-up capital for warehousing and collateral management companies in the country, among other rules set for the commodities ecosystem. According to the Commission, every warehouse that sources commodities to be traded on a registered exchange shall apply to be registered by the Commission, and all registered warehouses shall be published on the Commission's website. The statement directs owners to submit a standard operating procedure and undergo several procedures for acceptance of commodities to be deposited and delivery of these commodities. From there, we head to the domestic stock market. It kicked off the last trading week in the month of March with a positive sentiment amid renewed interest by investors for some high-value stocks. Ovie Bikomo has the details.
Hello and welcome to the Stock Market Report. I'm Ovie Bikomo. The bull made an appearance in the market today as the last trading week for the month of March began with the all-share index rising 0.71%. The positive sentiment also led to a 145 billion naira increase in the equity cap. Today's gains were largely driven by the 2.06% increase by the banking sector, followed by consumer goods and insurance. The other two sectors we track closed negative. Monday's session saw a massive turnover of volume and value as 522.1 million shares worth over 10 billion naira changed hands in 4,500 deals. Shares of GT Bank were the most sought after as the lender was the most traded by volume and value, contributing 7.38 billion naira to total trades for the day. With the MPC meeting now out of the way, it is expected that investor sentiments will be influenced by developments in the macroeconomic landscape and corporate actions. That's all on the stock market report for today. I'm Uvie Bikomo.
Thanks a lot for watching Business News tonight. I'm Anne Nwaudo. The rest of the news at 10 continues now with Ijoma.
Thanks a lot, Anne. Another batch of Nigerians stranded in Saudi Arabia have returned to the country. The Nigerians in Diaspora Commission said in a social media post today that the 255 stranded persons arrived at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, on board a Saudi air flight. The Commission says other returnees are expected in a few days. Still ahead on the news at 10, traffic resumes in the Suez Canal after stranded giant container ship is finally removed. And from our London studio, we'll have Around the World in 5. Do join us again. Welcome back. The Ever Given has been removed from the Suez Canal, having blocked the major trade route for almost a week. Traffic has resumed as hundreds of ships have been waiting to get through and the 400-meter vessel towed for safety checks. Suez, which connects the Mediterranean to the Red Sea through Egypt, is one of the world's busiest trade routes. Here's Simon Pusey with more international stories in Around the World in 5.
Good evening and welcome to the Channel Studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. Western figures, including US President Joe Biden, have condemned reports that Myanmar's armed forces opened fire at a funeral near Yangon.
It's terrible. It's absolutely outrageous. And based on the reporting I've gotten, an awful lot of people have been killed.
The country had gathered to mourn at least 114 people killed in the bloodiest crackdown on protests since the coup began. More than 400 people have now been killed in the suppression of protests in Myanmar since February. Footage shows a violent crackdown in several parts of the Kachin state by the Myanmar security forces, as police, both in uniforms and plain clothes, opened fire on protesters. Neighbouring Thailand is now preparing for a potential flood of refugees from Myanmar. Egypt's Suez Canal Authority has said that the Evergreen container ship has been partially refloated and turned in the right direction. The huge container ship that had been wedged across the Suez Canal for almost a week has been freed from the shoreline. The Ever Given has been blocking one of the world's busiest trade routes, forcing companies to reroute ships and causing long tailbacks of hundreds of vessels. A Paris court has found that French drug maker Laboratoire Servier guilty of aggravated fraud and involuntary manslaughter over a weight loss pill. The drug, called Mediation, was developed for use in overweight diabetics and was on the market for 33 years. It was withdrawn in 2009 over concerns it could cause serious heart problems. It is believed that hundreds of people have died as a result of the drug. It's considered one of France's worst ever health scandals. Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison has reshuffled his cabinet following a series of allegations about the mistreatment of female lawmakers and staff.
These changes will shake up what needs to be shaken up.
Christian Porter was sacked as Attorney General and Linda Reynolds lost her job as Defence Minister after weeks of mounting public pressure over scandals. Mr Porter has been the subject of a historical rape allegation, which he strongly denies. Ms Reynolds has been heavily criticised for her handling of an allegation of rape by a member of her staff 2 years ago. North Korea has accused the UN Security Council of double standards as its sanctions committee criticised the country's recent missile test as a violation of UN resolutions. The country launched a new short-range ballistic missile last week, prompting the US to request a gathering of the UN Security Council calling for more sanctions on Pyongyang. A top North Korean official said that the UN meeting was designed to negate the right of our state to self-defense. The Sudanese government and a major rebel group from its southern Nuba Mountains have signed a declaration of principles that calls for freedom of religion and cultural identity. The document paves the way for a final peace agreement by guaranteeing freedom of worship to all while separating religion and the state. The signing is viewed as a crucial step by the government to end decades of conflict with a wide range of rebel factions. The signed agreement states that no religion shall be imposed on anyone, and the state shall not adopt any official religion. A massive fire has engulfed one of the largest oil refineries in Indonesia. Incredible footage filmed by people nearby show the size and ferocity of the fire at the Balongan refinery, run by state oil firm Pertamina. At least 5 people have been injured and around 950 evacuated to safety. The company said in a statement that the cause of the fire is still unknown. Thousands of people in Germany have watched online as 420 kilos of explosives were used to demolish a huge power station. Once a profitable producer of traction current, the 37-hectare plant is being cleared to make room for new companies. 3 main structures of the old plant were brought down, but the full operation will probably last until the end of the year. And finally, the animals in South Africa's Balul Nature Reserve have a new ally in the battle to keep them safe from poachers: virtual rangers. The reserve has teamed up with handset manufacturer Samsung to supplement camera phones mounted in protective cases that stream images of animals' activities to thousands of virtual rangers worldwide. Over 55,000 people have become virtual rangers since the project went live. Viewers can signal the possibility of poachers and alert rangers to trapped animals needing rescue. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the Channel studios in Lagos.
Thank you, Simon. Hello and welcome to Sports News. The Lagos State government have announced that all vehicular movement around the Teslim Balogun Stadium will be prohibited from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. tomorrow for the AFCON qualifier between the Super Eagles of Nigeria and the Crocodiles of Lesotho. In a statement released today by the Ministry of Transportation in the state, the closure was necessary to effectively manage traffic better and tighten security at the stadium. In line with this development, motorists are advised to avoid movement around the stadium from 10 a.m. Poland striker Robert Lewandowski will miss tomorrow's 2022 World Cup qualifier against England at the Wembley with a knee injury. The Bayern Munich forward limped off during Sunday's 3-0 win over Andorra after scoring 2 goals. The 32-year-old, who's returned to Germany for further treatment on the injury, faces up to 10 days out with ligament damage. Coach Fernando Santos of Portugal insists that star player Cristiano Ronaldo will retain the captain's armband as Portugal prepare to face Luxembourg in the World Cup qualifiers. Santos believes Ronaldo reacted how almost anyone would when he stormed off the pitch after his stoppage time effort against Serbia was disallowed. However, the 66-year-old said the Juventus forward has been told that this kind of behavior is unacceptable. And staying with football, Tottenham Hotspur forward Gareth Bale has condemned the racist abuse his Wales teammates suffered over the weekend. Bale says he will support a social media boycott if that was what it takes to send a message. The 31-year-old feels social media companies could do more to identify as individuals posting abusive messages. That's it on Sports News. Ijama, back to you.
Thanks, Olumide. And the main news again. President Muhammadu Buhari today said Nigerians are better together as a nation, despite the country's diversity in language and religion. He made the comments at the 12th Bola Tinubu colloquium in Kano. Also today, the presidency announced that President Muhammadu Buhari will depart the nation's capital, Abuja, tomorrow for a routine checkup in the UK. This is the first time the president will be going for a medical checkup since the outbreak of the coronavirus pandemic. And traffic has resumed in Egypt's Suez Canal after a stranded giant container ship is finally removed. That's the news at 10 tonight. Thank you so much for staying with us. I'm Ijoma Bunyato. You have a good night.